Thankfully, you don't need to know anything about particle physics to play a string theory. You do need to know where the notes of the open strings are positioned on the stave. Each violin string produces a fundamental note when the full length of the string is vibrating. We can change this fundamental note by pressing the string against the fingerboard, shortening the vibrating length of the string and therefore raising the pitch. Pressing fingers down is called stopping the string. No fingers is called an open string. The open strings of the violin are typically tuned to the pitches G, D, A, and E. In string theory, we are going to get used to how these pitches are represented on the stave, without saying good dogs always eat. Notes are placed on the lines of the stave and in the spaces between the lines. The higher the note, the higher it goes on the stave, and vice versa. It just so happened that all the notes of the open strings go in the spaces. The open E is placed in the top space. The open A goes in the second space up. The open D is positioned in the space below the bottom line. And for the open G, we need to add two extra lines under the stave called ledger lines. The G then goes in the space below the second ledger line. When playing a string theory, try to use as much bow as possible for each note. Lovely long bow strokes will really get the strings vibrating to produce a full, resonant, vitamin-enriched sound. Every note in the piece is a quarter note or crotchet, so they should all be the same length. You can check this by using a metronome. Set it to 60 and play one note per beat. At 60 beats per minute, each note will last for 1 second. Also, notice how each line begins on a down bow. Start at the heel and rest the bow gently on the string before moving it. That way, you'll get a nice, smooth start to the note and avoid any bumpy landings. Once you've played the piece through a few times, try doing it without looking at the violin, not even once. Keep your eyes focused on the sheet music and follow the notes along the stave. Really concentrate to relating the notes you see to the sounds you hear and to the motions involved in playing on each string. A slightly counterintuitive thing about playing the violin is that our arm moves up to cross to a lower pitched string and down to cross to a higher pitched string. Don't worry though, a few days putting string theory to the test and this will soon seem perfectly normal.